Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
Folks, as we say as a good Scot, grab your drink and pull up a chair. And you might as well grab a wee bit of meat for this episode because it's time for another episode of the Soul Sessions. I am your host, of course, Soul. But with me today, quite a bruiser, former Wrestlezone Tag Team Champion, Bruiser Brad, my friend. Welcome.
Oh.
Look at that. Impressive physique. Only few could achieve that, and you've achieved it very well, my friend. But you know what, Brad, as we do the show, every guest has a story. Every story has a beginning. How did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
I'm not entirely sure how I got into wrestling. Like my brother's 4 years older than I am, so my brother watched it. So it's just always been, on TV, and I don't really remember my first match that I seen. I just remember like the big build up for like Mania, like 17 and watching 17 and watching 18. Like that's all I really remember. But I don't remember my first match that I seen.
Hey, fair dues. I mean, those WrestleManias are quite iconic. I have to throw up my hands here. I've not seen them. I've not seen 17 or 18. That's probably going to get me pillaged or lynched in the town center. I'll take it. But those manias are a lot special to a lot of people. A lot of people love them. Iconic. What is it about 17 and 18 of those WrestleManias that is so integral to wrestling fans? Why do they love it so much?
I think with 17, like that's built as the best WrestleMania. And I think what makes it the best WrestleMania is because there's a lot of variety on that show. You have a hardcore match, you have a TLC match, like you have the women's match, and you have like, whatever, like the main event itself, Austin Rock, on the build up for that. And then Austin turning heel, nobody knew that was coming, and it shouldn't have happened. Austin should have been face all the way through. But I think, like for me, 18, again, it has to be with Rock and Hogan, because Hogan came back and Hogan's now getting to be in the ring with The Rock, or The Rock's getting to be in the ring with Hogan, and then, passing the torch, whatever. But, that's just my opinion. I don't know. But I think that's what kind of makes it a bit special. Like Mania 17 is by far the best WrestleMania of all time. I agree.
Hey, fair point. It's a very important Mania. Obviously, it's the one with My Way, and everyone just thinks of that song.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. But obviously, Austin turned heel on that card, aligning himself with Mr. McMahon, and we've seen that kind of done in modern era with John Cena aligning with The Rock. What avenues do you think they have to navigate for John Cena's heel turn to work well, unlike Austin's, who didn't work? And a lot of people said that, it shouldn't have happened. What avenues do you think they have to navigate for Cena to be a successful heel?
I mean, like, I think he's already a better heel just now. Like, he got the good perception of boos wherever they were, like Barcelona. Was it Barcelona or is it Brussels? He got a great reaction to a heel, for a heel reaction. He got a great reaction. And not only that as well, with all the people that were chanting "Let's go Cena," he brought up how they're a bigger problem as well, which works, which is great because he's killing them immediately, and his mic work is phenomenal. We all know that. We all known that since he was a babyface, but we forget that he was a heel, years ago. Mm-hmm. We kind of forget that he was the Dr. Thugonomics, and he was crazy on that microphone. And imagine him now, as this older, greater man that's kind of like insane. I think his character is more like insane on like how he's been such a good guy has been a good guy for such a long time. And now that he's kind of like unhinged a little bit, maybe, I don't know, but like I think he's by far right now, his heel turn is a lot more successful than Austin's, for sure.
Yeah. Fair point indeed. It was a great reaction. A great segment. Even that little kid that he said he was breaking up as a relationship looks stunned. Poor buddy. He's going to be meant years. But obviously, it's leading to Cody Rhodes and him at WrestleMania 41 in Vegas for the WWE Championship. I mean, Cena's going to walk away the champion, right? We've got to get 17.
I think so. I mean, it makes sense, right? You know, it's his last time wrestling. You know, it's his last year. It makes sense to put the belt on him. It makes sense to break the 16. You know, the 16 world titles that Flair held. I think it's time for that to be broken. I really do think that.
Yeah, absolutely, and nobody else that can really break it. It's John Cena, for God's sake. Everybody
He's
loves
a man.
him.
He's the fucking man.
He's the fucking man. But what dream matchups would you love to see with a heel Cena as WWE champion? Is there any particular matchups you really want to see WWE do on his final run?
I'd like to see him and AJ again, but Cena as the heel. I think him and AJ would kill it. I think they'd have a phenomenal match. No pun intended. I think they would have a phenomenal match, because it seems like that Cena gets his best brought out of him against guys that were, like Samoa Joe, AJ, Kevin Owens, stuff, people like that. And I think him as like WWE champion against AJ for the belt or something. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. And you have to do it in France with that crowd that just think of him as like a national hero with a phenomenal chances. Yeah. French people love AJ Styles for some weird reason. I don't know. Were they watching TNA back in the day? I don't know. They like
they love him. They fucking love him.
Oh, they do, man. And it's great to see us all. You mentioned Samoa Joe, and he's a big guy. And you don't I just feel like in wrestling you don't have a lot of big men anymore. I thought that kind of big, bruiser types. I think of Samoa Joe, I think of Braun Breaker, I think of, Wardlow. Like I miss the days of watching back and seeing footage of like Vader in All Japan or Bam Bam Bigelow. Do you think the archetype of big men in wrestling is dwindled away, or do you think there's chance of a resurgence with some great talent out there?
I mean, I think there's a lot of like good big men out there. Again, wrestling's variety. You have to have variety on your shows, and you have to have the guys that can do the flips. You have to have the big guys. You know what I mean? Like the best big man in the UK right now is Will Cruz. He is a phenomenal athlete. He's a great wrestler. So I think with seeing Will, he was doing a few things with NWA. He had some matches on the Noah tour when they were over. He had like a few matches on there. I think if people, especially big guys in wrestling, and they see Will Cruz going over to Japan or going over to America, it's inspirational to see a guy of his size and a guy that is such a good wrestler that moves really well for his size is unbelievable. And I really do think that, a guy like myself, would look up to him and see how he's moving and how he's going, from country to country, whatever, and he's doing really well. And I do think that the big man style, I'm not tall, but I'm big. I think it is slowly coming back for sure because everyone likes to see people, big guys kicking the shit out of each other. I've wrestled Ass with Faith many times, and we've kicked the shit out of each other a lot. So, everyone likes to see that.
Oh God, that's an absolute brawl, and everybody does love to see it. But I want to know, Brad, who do you think is the king of the big man style? If you think of big man style, one name, who is it?
Oh man, there's a lot of names going through. You have Vader, you have Bam Bam, you have Terry Gordy, you have Bruiser Brody, you have those are the names that come to mind for me. But that's Will Cruz as well. We'll put Will in there. But the guys of the past or the guys of all time, those are names I think of. Brody, Hanson, Terry Gordy, Bam Bam, Vader. Those are the guys. Those are the guys.
Good selection of names. Nobody would discredit that at all. That's an absolute phenomenal choice of names. Even my rum's agreeing with me right now on those choices. It's only mentioned well because Terry Gordy, Stan Hansen, Vader, Bam Bam. I immediately think of All Japan, Noah, Japanese wrestling. Why is it that you think the big man style works so well in a Japanese wrestling environment?
I think, especially with those guys, because they're really tall. So I think it kind of, it's kind of like King Kong and like Godzilla. They're coming and they're just kicking the shit out of each other, and all their guys are like, holy shit, like look how big these guys are. And you have those guys. They don't give a shit. They'll beat the shit out of those motherfuckers too. But I don't know. I think it's just the excitement. To see those guys just kicking the shit out of each other and then kicking the shit out of the homegrown Japanese Japanese wrestlers. But I think that I don't know. Yeah, I think that's what makes it exciting. It's just seeing them kick the shit out of each other.
Hey, well, everyone loves a good brawl. Everybody loves that violence, the extreme element of it. And I think, especially with wrestling nowadays, we are seeing that violence aspect really catered towards. Obviously, AEW with the Moxley spike bat by Cope that everybody's reacted to and think it's the end of the world. And that's just a Saturday night in Glasgow, mate. Shut the fuck up. And then CZW, you've got GCW with Bloodsport, you've got Bleeding Gums Wrestling here in the UK, you've got TNT down south. And you spoke about how wrestling is important to have that variety. Why is it that you think that? And some wrestling fans think, no, it has to be this way or it has to be that way. Why is variety so important in professional wrestling?
Just makes it more interesting. If everyone wrestles the same, if everyone looked the same, it would get boring. It's the whole ice cream thing. You might like chocolate, but somebody else might, somebody might like vanilla, or somebody might like strawberry. You know what I mean? There has to be a variety. There has to be that. It's just the way it is. It's the way that the world is as well. There has to be variety. If you just eat chicken every fucking day, you're gonna get bored of eating chicken every fucking day. If you get some chicken and put in some rice and put in some sauce on top, there you go. It's a variety. There has to be variety.
Oh, Brad, come on now. It's late at night. You can't make me hungry right now. I have a job to do. I have a profession.
I'm hungry too.
We'll focus on that later. I'll be in the background. We'll have our broccoli, rice, and chicken, even some green beans if you want some extra variety.
Some green beans. Yeah, put some green beans in there.
Hey, flavor, mate. We spoke about variety there, and I think the UK does it the best. You have TNT, you have Progress and Repro, the hard-hitting style. You have family shows like Mega Slam and CPW and WrestleZone. You have even a bit of the hardcore element that with the long-standing history like an ICW and a Discovery Wrestling. Do you think the UK is the best place for variety of wrestling?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, looking back, the Giant Haystacks days, you had the British, the British rules and the British rounds and stuff like that. But then you have Big Daddy come in and he's squashing motherfuckers, and then you have Giant Haystacks, his biggest rival, come in. That's what makes it exciting. You have Big Daddy coming in and he's just doing whatever. He's just demolishing guys, and here comes, Giant Haystacks. Oh, this is equal. They're both the same, same size of two big boys, and I think so. I think the UK is the best for variety. I think the UK is the best for sure.
Yeah,
why not?
It's the best way to say it, mate. We are the best, even if the Americans like to say it. No, they're fucking not. But I know quite a few great wrestlers in your time, and I want to know particularly one. What was it like meeting Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Yeah, man, he was. I met Hacksaw back in 2013. I went to Aberdeen Anarchy 2013, and it was him and Billy Gunn that were there, and I went as a punter. I went as a fan, and he was great then. And then when he was at Comic-Con, we were in a hallway getting changed. That was our changing room. Was this hallway, and the door, you had to press the button to unlock the door, and then one of the guys came at the door and opened it, so I opened it up, and then behind him was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and he was great. Like he came to the back, and he was like, "Doesn't matter where you were, the boys are the boys. You know, we're all doing the same sort of shit." And he was like, just talking. He was telling us stories, and he was, just talking random stuff. And then he was like, "Do anyone want a picture?" And then we got a picture with him, and then he started yapping with some more. And then the next night, because the guys, the booker, whatever that runs wrestling, they are really tight with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We call him Uncle Jim. That's what they called him, and then we call him Uncle Jim. So we call him Uncle Jim. And they managed to get him the next night to come for a little like seminar. It was really just a Q&A. And it was fucking cool. Like just hearing them tell stories and talk about like back in those days, and I asked him what was it like working with Terry Gordy, and he said that like that was one of his best friends, and he was actually a roommate to Terry Gordy, and he was telling me like a random crazy story with that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because that's what I hear is Terry Gordy.
Hey, love the stories, man. And the stories are the fun part of it. I want to know, Brad, is there a particular wrestling legend you would love to sit down and just hear stories from?
Oh man, that's a lot. like Terry Gordy again. I'd love to hear stories of Terry Gordy, with Terry Gordy again. Stan Hansen, I would love to sit down with Stan Hansen and just hear him talk, because I think he's got some crazy stories for sure.
Those would be some absolute stories that I'm sure would make the internet go, "Oh shit, we're hearing this today," and you get a fun old yarn for it, and that's what the fun part is.
Instant clicks as well.
Absolutely, we love the clicks here. Yes, content. But for yourself, Brad, I was you be a fan that would take the extra step to being in the squared circle itself. I want to know, what was it like exploring, essentially the Scottish wrestling scene? What was it like getting into it at that time period?
So I started training in 2015, but I go into shows in 2017. It was interesting. Like when I first got into shows, it was interesting. We were still running the ballroom in Aberdeen, so that was doing well. But like we would do like all the like out of like in middle of nowhere like type of shows. So like Huntley and Keith up our way, and it was smaller crowds there, but it's a learning experience. Like there's always a drought somewhere, right? Always happens, but it was a good learning experience, to actually wrestle in front of a smaller crowd, and even get to wrestle in front of bigger crowds. But like, it was an interesting time.
Yeah,
Comparing it from then to now, it's night and day. It's very interesting to like see the difference from now and that, now and then.
Absolutely, because wrestling is always evolving. And, I've spoken to people who have been in even just the Scottish or even the Welsh scene back in the day. And to compare how barren it was then to now, with so many companies thriving, so many schools, for yourself, Brad, what has surprised you the most from the time you started to the time now of just the evolution of wrestling in the UK?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. That's kind of a hard question. Like the talent, the talent is now. The talent's just crazy. And actually getting to be on those shows where it's like with those talent, it's pretty cool. Like again at disco, you had man like Delise, and he was awesome. He was cool, and like Nathan Black and Will Cruz are cool dudes, and yeah, but like I'm not entirely sure with that question. That's kind of boggled my brain a bit. I don't really notice things like that until until somebody asks me. I don't really notice things like that. I'd sort of just go with it, man. Just keep the head down, and just go with it.
Hey, Brad, live in the moment, Brad. Don't let time fly by. Just go with it. Roll the punches. Have a good time.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
That's it, brother. Now, obviously, I got to talk about Wrestlezone, because you're a former 2-time Wrestlezone Tag Team Champion, obviously the foundation of the future. Mm-hmm. And surprisingly enough, you've held both of those belts for 203 days, both reigns. Quite impressive record to have. I mean, let's talk about what was the story about the formation of the foundation of the future. What was the story behind that first?
Okay, so the story was my tag team partners at Dynamite. We were tag teaming, and he turned on me in 2018, and had a little feud with him. And then at Aberdeen Anarchy that year, I was doing a manager type of thing with a wrestler, with the wrestler that's called Mr. P. We were kind of like we weren't officially a team, but we were together. And I turned on Mr. P at Aberdeen Anarchy that year, and I realized was at Dynamite. And then I think it was either a Battle of Nations or another show. It was in the Northern, and Ryan turned heel, and he joined Zach and I, and we became the foundation of the future. From then to now, it's been a while.
Been a while, but you've achieved a lot. I mean, I do love as well. I love images within wrestling that capture great moments, and there's one obviously with the three of you lads holding all the belts. To have the fruits of your labor harvest and into this amazing moment where you have all the belts, how rewarding was it for you to basically capture that moment of essentially all your hard work?
Very cool. Like, it's very cool to get become a champion, because everyone wants to win a belt in wrestling, right? Everyone wants to do it, and the hard work, especially with coming back from COVID and hard working through the gym and hard working through wrestling training. I thought our reward was a reward, because we were doing so well in Wrestlezone. We were the top heels in Wrestlezone. We were the top bad guys in Wrestlezone, and it made sense that we got the belts. And I just looked at it and I thought, that's all hard work. It's the hard work I put in for the past, at that point, 5-6 years, whatever. Maybe at that time I was looking at it that way.
I mean, hey, you've done it. You put in the labor and you're rewarded, and it's great to see, man. I mean, WrestleZone's a company that I've heard a lot of, from the likes of Ronan King and many others, of just how important it is. For yourself, Brad, how would you describe the importance of WrestleZone within your career?
That's where I started, man. It's very important. That's my home. WrestleZone's been my home for 10 years. It'll be 10 years this year. Wow. I've been a part of that crew. That's my guys, my home. It's my home promotion. That's my home.
Can you beat home? Home cooking's always the best.
Exactly, man.
Obviously, you've branched out to other places, and one I really want to talk about obviously is Disco Wrestling, Discovery Wrestling, based in Edinburgh. Obviously, previously owned by Alan Smith, now owned by Mr. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want him appearing into this video and have to pay him royalties. But that first experience, what was it like branching out and getting to be a part of Discovery in the beginning?
So my goal coming out from COVID was, because I've written down a bunch of goals for the next 5 years, and one of them was to debut for Discovery. And it was they're all about the raffle show. I think it was the week before that. I got a message asking if I was free for it. I was at Crusher Crave's wedding when I got this message, and I was like, yeah, of course I'm free for it. And I got to wrestle Aspen, and Aspen and I have history. We wrestled when I was starting out. When he won the Tri-Counties belt for Wrestlezone, I was first defense. So we got a lot of history. And when I said, when I was told it was going to be me and Aspen, I was really happy. because that's a guy that I trust, and that's a guy that I love to wrestle, because he me and him are in the same wavelength of like for matches and how it should be with us. And it was easy. It was so easy just to get in there and wrestle and to fight him. And then fast forward and to like looking at now, it's really cool, because the last disco show, getting that reception from that crowd was unbelievable, because back to the first show I debuted for, nobody reacted, nobody cared, because nobody knew who I was. And then seeing it now, that's paid off, because there was a lot of people that were chanting beef, and yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
Amazing to see, man. I mean, what's the origin actually of that beef chant? Was it just you had a steak bake in hand and were like, this is very good, this could work, or what's the origin?
So I called myself the Beef King, and that was actually a joke, because Emerson Jane and I were talking, and she was like, "Oh, so what's your workout plan for the week?" So I showed her my workout plan for the week, and she's like, "Oh, some big beefy lifts here. Oh, big beef boy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the Beef King, right?" Jokingly said that, and then she was like, "No, I'm the Beef King." I was like, "No, I'm the Beef King," and I tweeted it. I am the Beef King, or whatever I said, and it's just sort of stuck, because it's another sort of nickname for myself, and it's a character build for myself too. Something to add to the character, and it just works, because everyone loves beef. So it works. It works out perfectly fine, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, it works. I mean, I'm just wondering, why have you not got a beef crown or a beef scepter? You need to customize that, bro.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I've got it on my trunk, so it's fine. There's somewhere over there. I've got them on my trunks. It's all good. I don't need a crown. I don't need a scepter.
A beef crown, Brad, with like steaks on it, little filet mignons around the rim. Yeah. I mean,
that could happen one day. Maybe I'll see. I'll look into it.
Hey, why not? But obviously within Discovery, you've done other great things. Obviously, Walk with Discovery, you went against Scarborough for the tag team titles. They're beautiful belts. Obviously, they're now held by the Good Times. Wrestlezone and Monstrum defeated Scarborough.
Mm-hmm.
Is the tag titles a goal for yours, or is there another belt in Discovery that you think maybe the Beef King would look good with?
Tag belts. I would love to go for the tag belts. But I would also love to get a singles belt. So that open weight belt is looking really good on Judas right now. It would be a shame if a certain Beef King took it away from him.
Wow. Now,
that'd be a shame, right?
I mean, Disco Derby, there's an opportunity there. We've had Dave Conrad announced his intentions to go at number 1, Ryan Richards, Simon Miller. I actually had the Disco Fry Chip Watson. He wants to get into the Disco Derby and go for the tag belt. So, I mean, the intention from you, would you love to be in the Disco Derby and then maybe dethrone Judas Gray?
Why not? We'll go for it. We'll go for it and see what happens.
Oh, the excitement.
I'm ready for it.
He's ready, folks. He's ready. Let's get the Beef King his belt, and maybe he might put a nice brown burgundy strap on it instead of the blue. Customize it. Make it your own.
Put some beef on there too. Put some steaks. Hell yeah, I'm all for
it. Customization. You gotta love it. I mean, the Scottish scene really is on fire with, how much we get spotlighted by the big companies. Obviously TNA, when they're formerly Impact doing their tour here, they came and did a stop by in Scotland. WWE at the time of recording, they're coming here in 2 days. Yep. Do you feel like with how big Drew McIntyre, Piper Niven, Joe Hendry are big in the wrestling landscape, that there is truly all eyes on Scottish wrestling at the moment?
Yeah, for sure. Because you have guys, you have Drew there, and you have Piper there, and you have Abba Fire there, and they're probably still speaking to guys that are in Glasgow. So you have Wolfgang as well. You have Joe Coffey. You have Mark Coffey. They're probably wanting their guy or more Scottish guys, Glasgow guys, whatever. They're probably wanting, especially Wolfgang. Wolfgang probably wants his guys there. You know what I mean? Like, of course, there's a lot of eyes, especially with the Clash of the Castle. Like last year, there was a lot of eyes in Glasgow. Scotland in general. And people that were probably traveling for that were probably seeing, what promotions there were in Scotland and seeing what was, like really good and what was bad or whatever. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. I mean, Glasgow's a fun city, but I'm an Edinburgh boy. I have to hate Glasgow out with spite. It's just how it is. I just have to. But obviously, Hydro, lovely building. It's nice. But Murrayfield Stadium, Edinburgh. Do you think there's a possibility a wrestling show could run in that size stadium?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah, why not? I mean, you could, you can get concerts in there. You could, outdoor concerts. You can easily get a wrestling ring in there and big staging and whatever the show's going to be. But I definitely think that is a possibility. Have like a Royal Rumble or something in there, and that'll bring a lot of people. Because you have to have a purpose to have something in that venue, and having a big name show like a PLE, a pay-per-view, you can have that inside that venue, inside that stadium. Why not? Get people traveling from wherever, from America, wherever. Go for it.
Oh, and a wrestling show that's only 10 minutes from my house. I'm living the dream. I'm happy with that. Traveling down south. England's too expensive with their pints, the cheeky bastards.
Oh yeah.
I need a ball of Buckfast in the field. I'm sorry. That's all I need for a good night.
Exactly.
But, I mean,
that's all you need.
Absolutely, Brad. And I do want to talk as well, Brad, the importance of the internet, digital media in this day and age. Ways that we document wrestling as well. Obviously, we've seen with WWE's move to Netflix, some things haven't been on moves onto Netflix. NXT UK you can't view in the UK. ECW can't view. WCW does have a YouTube channel as well as some old NXT. But on the independent level, we have Cage Match. You have a Cage Match profile, so there's people documenting your stuff online as well, which is great to see. I know Billy Strachan from Scottish Wrestling Network, he documents as much as he can. He's a hardworking guy. I've seen it. He loses a lot of hair, but he's a good worker. Stress is a thing. It happens. But how important is it for you to see the likes of Cage Match and Billy documenting not only your stuff, but a lot of guys on the independent levels, history and matches?
It's like very important, because it's like an extra way of getting her name out there. And Billy works really hard and he deserves more recognition because he's constantly after show results and he's constantly after like interviews and stuff like that. And yeah, he is very important. He's very important to the scene. And people might look at him and take the piss out of him or whatever, I don't know, but fuck him, he works hard and he deserves his recognition for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. He's my Mr. Miyagi. He taught me everything I know. I respect the man, and he's taught me, hopefully, think of good things. But this rum does also teach me a lot of things that put me in the bad corner. Yeah. I like rum. Obviously, as well, we spoke about variety in wrestling and how integral the UK is with that amount of variety. For yourself, Brad, is there any sort of variety you would love to experience in your career, whether it's would you like to do something like a death match or something on the ends of a hardcore scene or something that's maybe a bit more different in your repertoire? What some new things would you love to experience in wrestling?
I'd love to do deathmatch. Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do like a hardcore style match and yeah, like wrestle different people for sure. Like those, you have to like it's not for everyone, but you have to have a taste for at least a death match. You have to do it. So yeah, I'm up for it.
Oh,
I'm up for it.
What is there a particular weapon you really want to use, whether it's a light tube or a chair wrapped in barbed wire, or I don't know, a cactus, something from home base? I heard that's going out still. What kind of crazy weapons would you love to use?
Probably some barbed wire. I think barbed wire would do great. Wrap the barbed wire, wrap the chain by barbed wire and start hitting people with it. I think it'd be cool.
I mean, you did mention someone earlier. I know she loves her kind of hardcore killer blood matches. You and Emerson Jane would be quite a fun death match.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, definitely. That would be a lot of fun. I'll just throw her about. It'd be great.
Oh god, just not with the needles. I seen her getting a needle through her cheek, and I was just like,
yeah. Same with the darts as well.
Jesus Christ, fair play to you, but no fucking for me. No, thank you. I'll sit behind the back and hide behind the bar. That's the great thing about it, Brad. Is just wrestling is the variety of fun, and you got to love to see it as well. And every new avenue for it is great to see as well. It's something I've always said, that how cool would it be? Obviously, the capital city of Scotland, Edinburgh, has their Fringe Festival, the Festival of the Arts. Do you think wrestling could ever have a place at something like the Fringe Festival?
Yeah, like you look at like the Mythos guys, they're doing great and they're having great reactions. Like they're having their storytelling with these characters, these like Viking characters or whatever, and they're doing matches, they're doing wrestling matches, and they're getting really good reviews. Like last year, they're getting phenomenal reviews. But like having like actual wrestling, yeah, for sure. Like it's an art form, it's a beautiful thing, and why not? Have a bit of fun with it. Put it in a
Exactly.
bar somewhere. There we go.
Oh my god!
What more could you ask for?
Mate, you could literally recreate the Begbie spot from Train Spawn with the glass getting chucked over the balcony, and it's like, yes, that's our history.
Exactly.
So let's put your fantasy booking hat on, Brad. If you could book 4 matches at the Fringe Festival, knowing what kind of crowd it is, anyone, who would you like to see wrestle at the Fringe Festival?
Well, anyone, right? Anyone.
Go on, have fun with it.
Okay, so 4 matches. So first match, of course, would be me against Microman. I would love to wrestle Microman. Why not? Skull Brawl. I have to put those guys in there. Skull Brawl against Skull Brawl against the Quinlans from down south.
Ooh.
They've wrestled before, and why not bring them up to Edinburgh, bring them up to the Fringe. Emerson in a death match against Emerson against Nick Cage. Nick Gage.
Jesus.
That'll be crazy, right? So Nick Gage and Emerson. And for the last match, let's have a comedy match in there. Let's have Gene Money versus guy from up here called Captain Alan Sterling. Let's put that in there too.
Oh, I can see it now, Brad. I can see all the critics being like, and 5-star show at the Fringe, folks. Get your tickets now. It's not £200 like the WWE. You're going to get your great viewing expertise. I mean, I think you're going to give Triple H and Tony Khan a run for Book of the Year by Meltzer.
See, that's just me thinking shit, That's just me like trying to think of who can be on this wonderful show.
It would be a wonderful show, no doubt, indeed, brother. Absolutely. Brad, it's a pleasure talking to you, man. It's a great thing. I've learned the knowledge of the Meat King. But before we go, some final questions. Obviously, we're only three months into the year of 2025. The year's still young. It's not Christmas time. I don't have to worry about shopping or any of that shite. It's still young. Is there a lot of things that you look at this year and think, I want to achieve by the end of this year? Any personal goals, any personal developments for yourself this year?
Probably just like get my name out there more, like wrestle more places, in Scotland, make a debut down in England. That's just on my mind just now, is just getting my name out there and wrestling different places, wrestling people that are better than me so I can learn, and just just enjoying it. That's the main things I really care about right now, and that's what I want. But we'll wait and see what happens.
Absolutely. And obviously, final question as well. You spoke about your love for guys like Bader, Terry Gordy, Mama Megalo, and Stan Hansen, and all these men have won a particular championship known as the All Japan Triple Crown, which is obviously is now a singular belt now. For yourself, somebody who loves all these guys' style, how much of an honor would it be for you to become All Japan Triple Crown winner?
I would, again, that would be a huge honor. I really would, because looking at the past, the people that's won it, like all the talent that's won it, it'd be a huge honor. A huge honor.
Well, hey, absolutely. And if you do, bring it back here. Just bring the belt back here. That's all I ask. I want to have the nice little thumbnail picture, like fucking minted. But hey,
yeah. I'll try. I'll try.
Folks, if you love what you've heard of the Meat King himself, I will put a link to his Instagram down below. You can click it, follow it.
The Beef King.
The Beef King.
The Beef King.
There we go, folks. That's what you can do, and you can see his journey down below. That rum has really fucking kicked my arse into gear, so I might as well just finish it.
There we go. Cheers.
And I'm not sleeping tonight. But folks, thank you. Down your drinks, put your chairs away, and thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions. Now